How are you doing?
Good, Drew. How about yourself?
Pretty good. You
Good.
staying pretty busy, which has been good.
Yes.
You here for questions or?
Questions and problems.
Yeah, we'll try to help. I'm a user too. We've been using Maker Made for a couple of years now, so try to join in. And
Yeah, I spent 4 days trying to get this thing to operate right. And
it can be a little tedious at first. Once you get down though, it's like some 3D printers, where once it just takes a little bit at first. But I'll tell you, like we've got 4 of them. Once you get down, they're really good, and they've been amazing about making sure they do updates, and they honestly, I'm super impressed with. I'm sorry, I'm gonna roll around. My warehouse is here. I've got a camera system on a cart. I bought a bunch of medical hospital carts, and I use them for I have different things mounted on them for.
yeah.
There's a lot right now. I have them all in casters so I can roll them around as we need.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. The problem we're having is because we're trying to use a 4x8 sheet.
Okay.
And we own a cabinet company, so I need to make my sides and bottoms, with dados in them and all that kind of stuff for cabinets. But if I draw an axis, an X and Y axis on the board, by the time it travels out 40 inches each way on the X axis, it's off 1/4 of an inch.
We may have. So one thing I did notice, are you using V2 or what are you using?
I'm just using the Makerverse.
I mean, as far as the mouse, are you using the Maker Made the version 2 with the new sled and everything, or are you using the original version?
Yep. No, I'm using that one.
So one thing in the manual, it talks about like how we're building it to put you'll notice some of the, just let me see if I can get this through. I'm sorry. I'm using a Facebook portal. It seems crazy, but it's actually like one of the most impressive camera systems. It looks like we have a camera person. It's not. Yes. It's just a Facebook portal with that has Zoom. They're like the most beautiful Zoom meeting thing ever. And they follow you around. It's like having a camera person. But like this one, you'll see I have like the chain starting way back here. Whereas this one I have, because the chain will get really tight sometimes. So let's see if this thing will zoom in on me. There it goes. The chain, I'm doing like 5 inches in. That helps a lot. They should be on here.
You brought because I did where I put the chain on it was 6 inches in from the end and 1 inch up from the bottom of the beam.
I think they've changed the manual now, which is good. But no, they should. Chris and them should be on here in a second. They've been really good.
Because it was really interesting. I thought maybe it was the board was at a square or something like that, but it bows. So it goes down 1/4 of an inch, comes right back to center, and then goes down 1/4 of an inch by the time it travels the other way. So I thought maybe if it was going to go below the line on one side and above the line on the other, it was just at a square. But no, it's just tracking down. So
hey, Chris is on here. The nice thing one thing I love about Maker Made is that like Chris is actually the founder and the CEO, but he's also the guy that does all the programming and everything else. He's actually the one that's written all the firmware, everything. So he's like, it looks like he just joined, but yeah, they are really amazing with stuff. It can be tedious at first, but they'll get you taken care of.
Yeah.
It's my name.
CTO, though. CT. I don't want to run stuff. I just want to make stuff. So I'm the CTO. But we can get you fixed. I like it's frustrating for you, but I enjoy fixing problems. So my wife prefers me to fix other people's problems than hers. So these meetings are good for me.
That's funny, Chris, because honestly, so I've only set for Mass Venture, one of the investment funds. I set a CEO, but the rest of them I refuse to be CEO. Because I'm with you, I don't want to. I like being hands-on in the labs and stuff. That's funny.
So you have a double dip, is what it sounds like. If I caught like the end of the of the explanation, but from what I gathered is when traversing left to right, you have a section where it dips, it rises back and then dips a second time.
Yeah, so if you zero it in on the center of that X and Y axis, right in the middle of my 4x8 sheet,
Yep.
and I jog it 40 inches to the right, the bit is 1/4 of an inch down from the line. Bring it back. If I jog it back 40 inches to the left, it comes right back to the beginning, right where it's supposed to be. And then if I jog it 40 inches to the left, it'll drop down 1/4 of an inch on that side as well.
Sounds like you have a bow in your wasteboard.
Man, I put a 6-foot level on that booger, and there is not a gap in that thing.
Okay. How far is your ring height good?
My what? I'm sorry.
So your ring height, I'm sorry. And I apologize if I just say random things. So when you, I'm kind of going through a list in my brain, and I have a problem where I say stuff while I think it. So
No problem.
While you are jogging, are you doing this with a piece of cut material, or are you doing this directly on the waste surface?
We did it directly on the waste surface. We were doing it on a piece of cut board, a 4x8 sheet, because my waste board's actually a 49 by 90 or 97
MDF.
Yeah, because I wanted to keep it true and square and all that good stuff. And so we drew that horizontal line, and because we originally just tried to do a 14 by 14 box, and the box came out of square.
Yeah.
And so then we kept messing with it. I've worked on this thing. I spent 4 solid days working on trying to get this thing. We had to redo the whole frame because what the original instructions were on the download versus the video, my beam was not the right height. So we totally redid all that, re-put the chains at the 6 inches in, 1 inch up. So we did everything, double squared it, double everything. And we just can't get it to travel a straight line.
Okay. Well, I can get you fixed. I can give you that guarantee. If it means I have to mail you something, I will mail you something. But we will get it fixed.
Beautiful.
It sounds, just initial thoughts without seeing anything. It sounds like either your ring height is not correct to where you have an angle on the chains so that you have like more slack than you should when you traverse left to right, or the motors are not I'm trying to do like the mental math here. Motor offset should be fine. I mean, ring height is the first thing that I would check.
And what is ring height? What is that?
So that rotational ring that has the 4 carrier bearings on it, those wing nuts, you can slide the height of the ring. So like you can adjust it as far as how far away from the surface of the sled that ring is. And that is used to compensate for varying material thicknesses for your cut. So if you're cutting a 1 inch, sheet of something, you'll have a different ring height than if you're cutting a 1/2 inch sheet of, birch ply. And then that's just to keep that driveline angle of the chains as true and straight as possible, so that there's not a leaning angle.
Gotcha. But this is going to be a dedicated machine to only cutting 1/2 inch ply. It's actually 12 millimeter plywood, birch plywood, and the intended purpose is we own a cabinet shop, and I want it to cut all my sides and stuff for the cabinet, where it'll put the dado in and all that kind of stuff for it to. So while we're doing other things, it's sitting over there cutting all the pieces.
Absolutely.
Where are you located?
I'm sorry, say again?
Where are you located, Adam?
Crestwood, Kentucky, just outside of Louisville.
Okay, because I think one thing we're gonna start doing too, I think, is we're gonna start doing like a group like weekly too, where all the one of these where too, it's like all the community people, like all the users get together and we can work with stuff we've had together too. So that'd be something we could look at too, because there's yeah.
Adam, are you nearby your machine? Is it possible for you to kind of go check a couple things, or I'm
within 5-10 feet of it. It's just outside of my office. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't mind, the way that I usually check my ring height is whenever you do those jog commands, is just move the sled to varying locations on your surface, and then just check that chain angle and check to see that you have a completely like mated surface between the sled and the material. Because a good way to tell is if you have like the top of the board if the top of the board starts lifting away, the top of the sled starts lifting away, then you know that, oh, my ring height is too low. And then so like as I'm moving up the board, it'll pull away. And then so ring height too high will add like some slack to where you'll have a full, it'll always be mating, but you'll get a lot of walking in the chains. So my initial guess, without seeing anything, is that your ring height may be too high, because I would say just the visual cues while you were troubleshooting this, you would have seen, you probably would have noticed if your ring height were set too low. So I would probably look to see if it was too high.
Yeah, because we haven't noticed that sled and moving that booger everywhere. We haven't noticed that sled being any different top to bottom, right to left, as far as any lift or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would venture to say if it is going to be associated with ring height, that the ring height may be too high for that 1/2 inch material, and it's just giving you that extra bit of wandering room. If that's not it, then we at least have something that we can cross off the list and move on to something that's a little more like intricate firmware specific. But I do like to address anything that could be just hardware configuration first, because those are things that you can change with your hands really fast and just have an impact on the setup. Because a lot of times we jump into the software to fix something, and then when you do that and it was a hardware problem, you just get to go back to the software and undo all of those attempts that you made previously.
Gotcha. In order, so I need to actually hook the machine up and actually be jogging it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay, because the computer I'm on will be the computer. What I'll do is I'll actually switch out and I'll log out of this meeting and get back on with my phone, and because I can take the computer out and
Okay.
mess with that. So
Perfect.
all right.
Well,
I'll
let you get set up on all that, and then if anyone else has a question in the meantime while he's testing that stuff out, we can jump to that.
I have a question, and it sounds like I should probably take my computer over to the machine and do the same thing, but my machine moves several. So I moved it 24 inches in the X. It'll move up by like 4 or 5 inches in Y at the same time.
Gotcha. So if you tell it to move just the X, it will move Y at the same time. Now, is the other motor turning as well, or is it just the given slack in the other chain?
It is moving the exact amount in the X, but it's just floating in the Y. So both chains are moving, both motors are moving.
Gotcha. That to me sounds like there may be a small issue with your distance between motors value.
I
And
thought, well,
yeah,
but I verified it several times. You know, if you told me it was off by 60 thousandths, I might believe you, but that's not going to make a 5-inch difference in movement, right? I mean, I'm using an exactly 120-inch top beam, and I've got 119.625 between the motors at the 8 o'clock position.
yeah.
And I verified the offset to the board as well.
Offset. How? What is your offset value? If in millimeters, hopefully, if you can read it from the thing. I apologize. I know that a lot of you guys are like really good at doing the thousandths and everything, and just when we do everything in the software, we have to do it in millimeters. So that's kind of how my brain is predisposed.
I get it. I work in aerospace and we work in so the values I have are 3038.475 between the motors and 444.5 as the motor offset.
Okay, that 444 might be getting you. So we can do a virtual change where you could just manually change that. You don't have to do anything physically. But if you were to change that 444 to like a 475 or a 480, and then rerun your jog to see if anything changes, then that would be it. So a lot of it is, we have about a 22-inch expectation between top beam and the top of the waste surface. And a lot of times when you run that, and I need to get some of the documentation updated for this, because when you run that MDF that is an inch taller than a regular 4x8 sheet, it eats up an inch of that offset that the firmware is expecting, and then so it's going to pull that motor offset number a little bit closer, and then in times it can throw off some of the trigonometry there.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't use the wall mount frame that was included in the kit. I did the default frame, and it listed, you know, I followed that pretty exactly. So, and that I believe has a shorter height.
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm running mine. My offset right now is 473. So that is again, it's one of those things that we can test relatively quickly just to get instant feedback. And then if it's not it, we can move it back to that. But it is always, also, hold on. Which version are you on 1.0.6 or 1.1.2?
So just last night, at the suggestion of someone on the forum, I upgraded the firmware and the software. So I'm on 1.1.2 now. But
okay. And how many iterations of edge calibration have you been through?
I haven't been through any of I moved over to the new software. I haven't been through any of the edge calibration because I did this at like 1 a.m. When I was moving the X, it was floating so much in the Y, I was like, it's going to go off the sheet if I do the edge calibration. So let me hold for a minute until I figure out.
No, I totally get, 100% understand the logic, and that's, I would try that quick change in the motor offset. And I know it sounds like a cop out, but it has eliminated this error before. And then the edge calibration it won't let you run away too far because we have virtual end stops in there, or soft limits in the workspace. So as long as but if your machine is miscalculating the movement, so if you tell it to go 40 and there's still potential. So try that motor offset first, and then if that doesn't work, then redoing, because when you updated your firmware, you nuked all your settings previously anyway. So resetting and like reflashing the firmware and going back to blank, and then running the 1.1.2 calibration from the very beginning should also get you trued. So we've got some kind of like self-healing steps in 1.1.2 that will help compensate for any of those one-off variances.
Okay, so first I'll just try artificially increasing my my motor offset to like 480, you said?
Yes.
Okay, let me try that, and I'll mute myself and go try that, and I'll let you know how that goes. And then
Okay.
One thing I recommend, I don't know. So these, I got these from Amazon. Basically, the emergency, I don't know if you see it, the emergency start and stop buttons for like table saws and all that. They're like $10. And let's see if we can see it very well. Move it a little bit. But these things work great. So I keep these by just in case. And then if something's really going wrong, I think it's going to break something, I just hit that. It kill power to the motors. An Arduino. Before there was issues with recalibration, but with the newer ones, M2, you don't have issues. Shouldn't have issues with that. But they're really helpful to have, and they're like $10.
Hey, Chris, real quick question. I was listening. What version of Makerverse should I be using?
It depends. And I know that sounds like a horrible answer. So straight out of the box, the M2 firmware is directly ready and compatible for 1.0.6.
Which is what I have.
Yes. To jump to 1.1.2 requires the firmware on the control board to be updated. We have a manual process documented that will kind of walk you through the steps of performing that update, but we are also working on just an actual like software change that will let you update the firmware a lot easier than using the Arduino application. So if it's one of those, I've been kind of telling people, if you're getting good results with 1.0.6 and you like the cut accuracy that you have, and you're able to make projects, and you don't have like any major frustrations, then it's probably okay to just stay at 1.0.6 while we get the firmware update utility added to Makerverse, so that when you do make the jump to the newer version, Makerverse itself can just update the firmware of your control box and just eliminate that manual process completely. If you have a desire to move to 1.1.2 right now, and you want to go ahead and do the firmware, we have some documentation and some videos for that flow. And I've done it live on these meetings a couple of times too. So I don't mind going through the process and helping you. The biggest thing is for the initial setup of the machine, 1.1.2 does have a little bit better calibration process and like assistance features built in to kind of help you get calibrated. 1.0.6 does require, some measuring and trial and error and scaling everything. Like we have plenty of users that are making really great cuts and have good accuracy with 1.0.6. It is a bit more of a manual process than 1.1.2. So that's where I say, if you already have it set up on the older version and your machine is running and you like your cut and you're making things, I don't know that it's a justified amount of downtime for you to do the manual update right now,
Gotcha.
just because a lot of the features in 1.1.2, there's nothing like major that's like, oh, hey, in 1.1.2, I can just lay out an SVG and cut directly from the, like, there's nothing groundbreaking between 1.0.6 and 1.1.2. Now,
Gotcha.
what you will see in some coming updates is, I think we're targeting 1.2.0 is going to be like, that's going to be the big moment where there's going to be an added value to move, because we're going to have a lot of like laser control stuff and
Gotcha.
support for a diode laser kit. We just need Drew to do some testing for us before we can finalize all that.
Yeah, I'll set as soon as that comes in. I'm gonna immediately we're gonna start working with that immediately. I'm gonna start playing with that because that's perfect, because 9% of what we've been doing lately is laser stuff anyway. So it'd be beautiful to see that.
Yep. And the
And
laser
just out of
stuff. Yep. Go ahead.
And looking at this chain with this ring set up, is the chain supposed to be parallel to the work surface?
Yes. The chain should be parallel to it should be at the same angle as your wasteboard.
That's the problem. So, yeah. So there's definitely different. Where the chain, if I measure from the wasteboard to the edge of the chain at the very top of the wasteboard, and then I will measure down, it's off considerably, like by 3/4 of an inch.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would definitely cause some variance while traversing the wasteboard.
Okay. So I need to adjust that ring out so that chain is exactly the same.
Correct. And it's pretty easy to if you just jog it pretty close to the bottom of your waste surface in the middle. So go to your home position, go straight down, check the ring height. Now you want to make sure that you have about 75% of the sled still sitting on your surface, so that you don't get any kind of like where it doesn't try to walk off the edge. Set your ring height there, and then jog the machine straight up the middle to the top. Verify that everything is still good there, and then from that point you could go to each of the 4 corners just as like a final validation.
Gotcha. So straight down in the middle, adjust that chain, that ring height, so it's parallel. And that's to my wasteboard or to my work surface?
Ideally, because you're doing 1/2 inch stuff, right?
Right.
I would do it to the cut surface. Since you're not going to have any variance, you're only going to cut 1/2 inch. I would go ahead and calibrate the ring to that 1/2 inch material, so that you have extremely repeatable cuts.
So that height and so that parallel, it should be the same height technically from the bottom of that work surface.
Yep.
To
all the way up. And that's why. Yep. And that's why I say start at the bottom, is because that's the longest, that's where you're going to see the biggest pitch change. I mean, I know that the rake will be the same, but you'll be able to see it better at the bottom.
And that would explain why our chains were touching.
Yes.
When they were at the full extent, they were rubbing, and that's because that ring is too close to the work surface.
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, I'm gonna mute out and work on this for a few minutes, and then I'll jog back in.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Right, so I fooled my machine, or I lied to it about the motor offset, and it still does the same thing. So what was your next suggestion? I'm sorry, I need to catch back up.
Okay. All right. So yours is it goes up and over. So you're moving at diagonals.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. If I move over in the X, it'll move up in the Y in either direction.
In either direction.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, and I know this, so this is like my favorite thing to say just because it can have the most impact.
All right.
There absolutely any chance that you have a convex or concave in your waste surface?
Oh, like up and down or in and out?
In and out.
Maybe by like a 16th of an inch.
Gotcha. No, that's fine. Because we'll have that is going to be the absolute number one thing that can make an impact on being able to move in a straight path, is because we have that friction on the waste surface. If there's any kind of flex or bow in that, it adds distance to that travel, and then it'll have an impact based on how much chain is paid out. I'm not, now if it's, like 16th of an inch, is not going to cause 5 inches in.
Yeah. I would expect maybe some small errors here and there, but the amount it's off, it seems like it has to be a configuration or software major hardware defect, not that out of square.
Can you, is there a way you can kind of give me a full frame of your machine there?
See how long the cable is. Sorry, I'm just dragging my laptop around the garage.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Can you see that? Is that?
Yep, I can. Can you drive it around a little bit?
Yep. All right. I will tell it to move. Whoops. Why is it back on millimeters? Inches. All right. I'm just going to move it 24 inches to the right. So there's a mark right here that's about 1.5 inches from the top of the.
Yeah.
But you should be able to visually see it going up right now. It's pretty significant.
And if you go to the left, does it go up or does it go down?
It goes up to the left. Also, but both directions go up.
Sorry, I'm working my way to my whiteboard. I have to math. I just don't know where my eraser is. There has to be something. All right, so there. Okay, so on your feedback in the Makerverse application itself, what is your XY position that it's reporting? So like if you say, hey, I'm at 0, 0, I want to go to X150, Y0. When it gets to that position, does it report that it's at X150, Y0 and then
So I think, let me share the screen just so you can, oh wait, it's disabled. So on the upper right of my screen, where it says machine position and work position, those both say X 24 inches, Y 0.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just doing a quick plot here real fast. So this is 0, 0. This is 4, 0, here, here. Okay, how dimensionally accurate is the X movement, even though that you have a variance in Y?
Whoops. Oh, there's a soft limit on my, let me reset my, oh shit, stop. I just told the Z to move 24 inches.
Nice, it loves that.
Let me just go down to millimeter. I'm just gonna bring the Z in so I can mark it. Let me move this out of the way and take a measurement, and I'll get back to you. I'll let some other people jump in and answer or ask their questions.
Okay, hey, I want to get to Michelle real fast. I know that you've been waiting. If spoken English is going to make it difficult, we can do support over email on our support thread if that would be easier for you, or I can try to walk you through. I am curious though, with the M2 on the Arduino, are you trying to upgrade to 1.1.2?
Que actualiza el Arduino.
I think I
Yes.
have one of my guys who speaks fluent Spanish here.
Huh?
I think I have one of my guys who speaks fluent Spanish here. If you want me to see.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, hey, let me see. Hey,
Oh, I have someone here too. I forgot. Hey, Julian.
¿Cómo va a ser?
She has a problem with her thing. Ask her if she's trying to.
Me lo puedo hacer one-to-one por email.
Como él prefiera.
Okay. Hi, my problem is that the Arduino don't connect with my computer.
Do you have the Makerverse application open right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, make sure you have that. Make sure you have that closed out completely.
Lo cierras por completo.
And then, okay, so open Arduino.
Ah, dice que sobra.
Okay, so at the top, click on Tool, and go to Board. Okay, okay. So, are you trying to upgrade the firmware?
Yes.
Okay. What version of Makerverse are you using?
¿Qué versión tienes?
The-
Makerverse.
I have two. The first,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
other download.
Yep. That one right there. Okay. So on.
Dile que no suenan los motores en ningún momento.
The CNC don't have sound or nothing.
Go. Okay. Have you clicked set home?
Home. Home. ¿Dónde está el home? Ah, set home.
Top right. There you go. And it doesn't say okay. Okay. I'm going to send you an email address, and
Okay.
if you will email them and tell them that you spoke with me on today's meeting, and that we need to send you a warranty control board.
Oh,
That'll
okay.
be, that's going to be the fastest way for this, and then they'll send you a return label so that we can get that board back, because I want to check it, because it is not, it's showing that you're connected to the board, but it's not giving you any of the extra information that you should have in the console. So I have reason to believe that your control board is faulty, and it's just going to be easier to swap that out than chase a bunch of other things. So
Okay. Thank you.
you're very welcome. And I just put the email address in the chat right now.
Okay. Thank you. I send an email now.
Okay, thanks.
See you.
Yo no tengo puesto.
All righty. Let's see where we.
You didn't even use Spanish translator.
Travis.
Yep.
24-inch backs. And 22.625. And then, okay. That. All right. Made me sit down. That doesn't, I only sit down when something's broke. I'm going to find our defaults here. Let's see. If you can, in your console on the left, well, it'll actually be in the widget. Let's, yeah, so in the, you're on 1.0.6?
Yeah, no, 1.1.2.
Okay, yeah, so where it shows you like your machine information, where it'll tell you, I think it's like on the lower left-hand side, where it'll tell you like your motor offset and all of those values.
I'm not seeing. I apologize. I find 1.1.2 a little bit difficult to navigate.
Okay, no, I definitely appreciate the feedback, because then I can make it not difficult to navigate.
Okay, I can click the button next to the calibrate button, that little info button, and get values from what looks like sort of an XML type document. Is that what you're looking for?
So let's do this. In your console.
Yeah, that's probably easier. Type something.
Yeah, so in the console, you should, come on. Let's see. Yeah, so do $$. No. Maybe, yeah, do $$.
Yep.
And hit enter. And then the whole bunch of stuff should just like start spewing out onto the thing.
No, I just get, it says, okay, okay.
Okay, so then do $hash and then hit enter.
Okay, I got a bunch of stuff here. That's all 0.
All 0?
Everything, it's G54 through 59, then 28, 30, and 92, and then a TLO, all say 0.00, however many.
Do you have one that says like $100?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Wait, is there a way to reset it? I just got a message that said the machine failed to calculate its current position or something. That
Okay.
may be impacting it.
For sure.
Do I just reset the board connection?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me now just do $hashtag again.
Yeah, because that dollar should have displayed all of the user defined settings. It should have given you some information.
No, I got the same thing for both of them.
The same output?
Yeah. Now, so maybe this is a calibration thing. So I didn't see a way to, well, I went through the calibration thing and verified it, and that's how I set like the value that I made up, the motor height value. But I didn't say a way to like save or apply those settings anywhere.
Yeah, so it should apply when you hit continue.
Okay, well then it should all be done.
But $dollar doesn't give you any output?
No, just 2 okays, that's it.
Okay, let's do this. This won't break anything.
Okay.
In your console,
Mm-hmm.
type I'm just gonna paste it in the chat because if I say it out loud,
I get it.
It never fails. Like I'll have like some weird accent or something where people don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so put this in the console and hit enter. And then see if it gives you an okay or if it says, I hate you.
Invalid. Hold on. I have to copy it, like to write it manually.
The ASCII characters. Are you on a Mac?
No, thank God. Let's see. It's 100 equals 127.775. Okay. It just says, okay.
All right. And then do the same value for $101.
Okay. All right.
And it said, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't mean to just rant. That wasn't on purpose to say okay 5 times. So home it and then try a jog again. And you haven't done any work with like work offsets or anything like that, correct?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't got to that point. I haven't really done anything other than move it and try and verify that it moves the way it should.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, and now just try jogging it over by.
Yes. Now, out of curiosity, when you say go home, it goes to the same exact spot every single time?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my home is slightly off from where it was before I upgraded the firmware because I haven't set it properly, but it does continually come back to the same spot.
Okay.
All right. I'll try and jog it now. Can you see that?
Yep.
Whoops. So it's climbing pretty good. Looks like the same thing happened.
Yeah. Let me.
I have a 1 o'clock meeting that I have to get ready for.
Okay.
Is there a way I can contact you via email and we can just set up another time to go through this a little more?
Yep. Putting it in chat. There you go.
Same one, just support it. Okay, Chris. All right, I'll send you an email and follow up with you.
Okay.
Thank
Perfect.
you for your time.
No problem.
All right, see ya.
All right. All right. Anyone else?
Hey, I got a quick question, Chris, for this. So the 3D printers, are y'all going to do a separate meeting like this for the 3D printers? Or are you going to do 3D printers in this once the 3D printers and all that start shipping and everything?
As far as just selling them? Or
No,
so
as far as like support, like, are you going to have a separate one for the Maslow's and the 3D printers? Or are you going to
yeah, so Drew has like a 3D printer school that he does. And I think he does that on Tuesdays.
Okay.
And then we have the separate CNC. We just want to make sure that we give everyone, I didn't want to sacrifice time for CNC stuff on Thursday by lumping 3D printers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I figured it'd be better off to have two. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
It works. So cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm stoked to get you guys running on the laser. That's
I am too. It looks like it should be here Saturday. Did you ship it to the office address?
I don't know.
Okay, I think it's going to the office address, which is so. I'll make sure I'll make sure I get it on Saturday, and then what I'll do is I'll set up a time with y'all. I'll get it installed, get it going, and then it'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
What address?
So I'm just cleaning up. We had to shift and make thousands of dumpsters in like 10 days. So we're like, oh man.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, it was really cool. We ended up, and I was laser cutting them all at first, but because I didn't think it would sell that many of them, I thought we'd sell maybe a few here and there. And but it worked out really good. It just, what do you call it? We had to shift real quick in production. It's like screw doing the lasers takes too long, so we just went all the table saws, scored everything, and then went straight to good old fashioned saws. Where I think the Maslow's for stuff like this could be perfect, where you just need a whole sheet of stuff just cut like that. I think the Maslow's would be perfect for those. So we could just let on cutting sheets nonstop and stacks of them. So yeah, I just didn't have time to get everything set up. It was so quick. We went from like having like $100 of sales to like $20,000 of sales in like 2 days. So I was like, oh crap.
Hey, but being forced to scale is always more fun than scaling in hopes of selling something.
Oh yeah, that's what honestly a lot of the equipment I have. So I used to be the CEO of Mass Venture, the venture capital fund.
Nice.
And so one of my things I used to love doing is buying out bankrupt startups. So I have tons of stuff. I have tons of equipment, tons of what do you call it, inventory of stuff that they scaled up, made 10,000 units, and realized they sold 80.
Nice.
So it's like I have all kinds of random shit piled in places.
Let's see. It looks like it's going to 1235 Safari Street.
Perfect.
Is that the office?
Yeah, they're like 2 miles apart. I hate driving. So my office and my house are like right down the street from each other.
Very cool. Yeah, so so I sent you two. One is a crazy contraption that is a 10-watt diode, and then one is a 7-watt diode. it's a
Do you
little-
want to try setting them up with? You want me to try setting them up too? Like one with the Maker, the original Maslow, and then one with the new 2.1 or 2v2.
So these will only run on the do board.
Oh yeah, because the new board has the.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you don't have PWM on the old board, do you?
Correct. And and laser engraving with single pulse per motion would suck.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting though,
Between every dot.
what would be interesting too, I think, for large things, if people, instead of doing engraving constantly, honestly, a lot of stuff we do scoring. So like, it looks good. So that actually wasn't engraved; that was scored.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have is, here, I'll grab one thing. I'll be right back.
Hey, Chris,
Yes, sir.
doing the same thing even after the adjustment.
Same exact thing.
Now, could it be the fact that it's not calibrated now? 'Cause
Yes.
It was off by 1.25 inches.
Yes, there is a possibility on calibration now. So you would get into doing like your scaling values and everything. So you would cut a square, or I mean, you don't have to cut a square, but you move to 4 different points, make your mark, do your measurements, and then go through the scaling values. But now that you have a lot of those things set constant, and your ring height and everything is good, then you can go in and start to make those tweaks on the.
Now, when I take that sled all the way to the top of my board, it lifts. Can that be compensated with some more brick?
The top of it lifts.
What it's no, the bottom part
Really?
lifts out.
Bottom part.
Yeah. Yeah. So in other words, as the sled goes up, gets closer to the top, it tilts in so that where the Z motor is coming off the board. Have I adjusted it too much?
Seems like it. I would try to find like that happy medium. So adjust it at the bottom, then bring it up to the top, and then make a smaller adjustment to make it flat, and then see if you can never find like that happy medium, then you might need to make an adjustment to your top beam. What is your motor offset?
119 and like a quarter or something. All right, right at 119, I think. Let me double check that real quick.
Oh no, offset is from your motor to your wasteboard. I'm sorry.
Oh, should be like 13 inch or 18 inches, 17
18?
inches, I think. 17. I think it's 17 inches.
Okay, no, that's good.
To my wasteboard, it's like right at close to 17 inches.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go through.
So just keep.
Yeah, just kind of fiddle with it. Go to the bottom, set it. Go to the top, set it, and then just kind of go back and forth, and you'll find like that sweet spot where it works. And I know it's kind of it is a bit manual, but this is really just because we don't have a suspended gantry, so we have to make those adjustments with the ring height to compensate for it. The other thing I would say is make sure you are moving all 3 sections of the ring, and
Yes,
keep those even.
And I kept them the same height all the way around.
Perfect.
So yeah, so it just looks like when I get it to the top, it's too high out, and I just need to adjust that down till it lays flat, and then see how that works.
And I know it's definitely a pretty crude tool, but I've found those are the kind that seem to work the best at times. Is I had a scrap piece of masonite in the shop, and so I cut a little, probably like a 2-inch by 4-inch piece out of the masonite, and then whenever I set my ring height,
Mhm.
I set that on the inside of the ring, and then draw a line into the top of the L bracket, and then I just have it labeled. So now I have like this little gauge that's labeled. So whenever I switch between like 1/8 inch or 1/2 inch or 1-inch stock, I just have those lines, and I can set my ring height to those lines really quick.
Gotcha. Other quick question. Is that a problem with the spring? Or is that
Yes.
spring just there to hold tension?
That is probably going to turn into a problem. So in the chat here, I put an email for support. If you send us an email there, I'll get you another spring.
Okay, sounds good. Let me see here. And I don't know if I saw that. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, if you switched the Zoom, you may have rejoined after that email was posted. So if you don't see it, let me know and I'll punch it in a second time.
Yeah, I don't see it.
There it is now.
Let me see. Let's see here. Why am I not seeing it? Sometimes me and technology don't get along.
I think that's even for the people that create technology.
Exactly. I think that is just the core driving force of technology, is to pay for support, because technology never works all the time for everyone. There's just too many outstanding factors for electronics to function properly.
I do like the idea though. Like one thing I love about the Maslow and stuff like that. So like the lasers I have up here, the machines I have, like they each have their own like personality. Even with like our 3D printers, where we have 10 of the exact same models, same firmware, everything else, they each have their own little personalities. I think one of the fun things is when you have things like the Maslow, where you have the ability to really tweak things, do things the way you want. You can really get to know your machines intimately, and so once you've used them for a while, you're able to do a lot more than you would with, like, I have a Glowforge laser engraver cutter, and I don't use my Glowforge that much. It's cool, it's fun, like we have interns and stuff, but you don't have much control over them. These guys, like this big laser here, it caught fire, and I rebuilt it out of old plotters because I couldn't get parts during COVID. So I literally ripped apart some old plotters, took the belts and other things, and then used some stepper drivers. So it's stuff you can do with the Maslow, so you can't do other way. It's really cool. So the frustrations can be good.
Hey, Chris, for some reason, I'm not getting that chat.
Okay, it is just it's support@makermade.com.
Support@makermade.com. And just
then,
tell them that.
Yeah, you can tell. They may ask for your order number just so that they can get your address and everything and know where to ship it to. But just you can tell them that you were in the weekly office hours, and that just Chris said to reach out about getting a replacement spring.
Sounds good. I'll get it taken care of.
Perfect.
And we'll keep messing with it. All right. Thank you.
So yeah, so from this thing, so I think this is where one of my friends came by. He was making cornholes for his ranch, and so he wanted to engrave this guy here, and so it's. So these have bypasses in them. These big units have bypasses in them, but so now,
Yeah, we got like the feed slot in the front and back.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm also stuck with the big chillers. Like I have, that Haskins is a big. It's a chiller from Electron Microscope.
Nice.
that I'm running. Yeah, I ended up getting that for a damn good deal. It's another company like y'all. They've been amazing. Like, I bought it at auction for $200, and I called them, and I was like, because I couldn't. It's more complicated program than you thought. There's actually quite a bit of stuff in there, and so I called them. And I figured their support would be like, screw you. You have to pay a technician to come out and do it. And they were super kind. They were like, no problem. He even sent me the schematics for it. And they're like, how much do you get that for? I was like, $200. They're like, Dan, it was like, they're like, that thing was 75,000 new 5 years ago. So it's worked beautifully though. So, but yeah, so stuff like these where you have these big ones, I think it would be nice. It's like, the backboards. Now these lasers you sent me, these 7 and 10 watts, those are they're just air cooled, right, guys? Are they air cooled? Do they have fans on them, or do they just have what do you call it? Are they just actually active heat sinks, or just regular heat sinks on?
That's awesome. I love the big lasers. I just don't have a shop for one right now.
Yeah. So the lasers you sent, do they have do they have heat sinks and fans, or do they just have heat sinks?
They have one of them has a massive like CPU size heat sink and fan. The other one is it has a fan and control board. So they're both ready to just plug in and wire up. And with them being diode, there's like no charcoal filtration or anything like that.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. So I'm thinking for stuff like this, like it would be perfect is instead of trying to do like people trying to do engrave, especially with 7 watts like this, it'd take quite a bit.
Yeah.
What I think would be really cool is if we start learning how to do scoring. So I just did scoring instead. They can do really nice stuff, but it comes out really well. And so I think that's what I'll play with too. I'll play with a lot of scoring because I try to get my guys when they're like, look, when you're doing large engraving, scoring is like 95% faster than engraving. And then it'll put way less wear on the diodes. So
you're using scan lines, not rasters, right?
Yeah. Well, you're using raster. No, excuse me. Yeah, you're using scan lines. You're still using vectorized, but it doesn't. It's not. It's basically doing the same function as cutting, just at low power.
Yeah.
And so it's
absolutely. I think that's going to be the sweet spot moving forward for like the M2 as well, just because raster engravings, like unless you have like a really big giant one and there's just the scale of the M2 is the only thing that you.
Yeah, people are gonna have a hard time when you're doing this size. Like this size, I was like, Tom, you got that vector. And this is a pretty simple logo. You know what I mean? But if they had sent me a raster, that it would have been a mess. Absolutely. It'd be interesting because I think that's like perfect for y'all. Because like in this situation, he could have cut these. Now he'd already had his cut and everything, but we could have just thrown these up there. I think like that would be perfect projects for y'all's shop and all that. Is where you have, the cornhole boards where it just cuts out the boards, and then they can before it cuts it out, it engraves it or it scores it with the logo and stuff like that. Then cuts them out. We could create some. We could do some demo files on there that would just be like showing how you engrave first and cut.
Oh, absolutely. We've also looked at ways to combat, because you hear people that are like, oh, well, I just need to cut this and, I can run a jigsaw way faster than I can watching the Maslow. So if you have just a 7-watt laser on there and you lay your template out on a 4x8 sheet, it goes and does just a single pass engraving, marks all your cut lines, and then you can just pop the sheet off and cut it out with a jigsaw if you want to.
That's how we made 3,000 dumpsters in 10 days. We did exactly that. We just scored them all real quick. We threw the sheets in there, scored them all, and so I think that's where it would have been beautiful. If we had with the Maslows and like that would have been a perfect thing. I'll try. We have our social media. One of my friends does a lot of social media stuff. I'll have him document some of this stuff too, and that way y'all can have some use case when we do that. We can show, hey, here's some cool things you can do, just so you can have some real world things happening with it.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I see one, Jay there. Do you have any questions? I know we're just kind of rambling, but I want to make sure that if you have anything, that we get the questions addressed.
Yeah, I just want to. I'm all kind of new at this here with the Maslow systems. Kind of looking at your website there. Just want to get an idea of what's included in that package that you guys are selling?
Yeah. Are you looking at the M2 or the Jumpstart kit?
The M2, and I want to be able to cut, I guess, a little bigger than the 4x8. And I think the chains that you guys have on there, are they the 11-foot ones or the 15-footers?
We have, so the kit comes with 11s, but we also sell the 15-foot chains. So if you go to a 12-foot top beam with edge skirting, then you can cut outside the bounds of a 4-foot by 8 space.
Now, when I place the order, can I just ask them to send me the 15-footers as well as the spindle holder? I think it comes with a 71, which is the black one, 71 millimeter, and I'd probably need the larger one too.
91.
Yeah.
So with that, I would have you before you place the order, I would reach out to the info@makermade.com email address and just have like a quick pre-sales discussion, because what they may be able to do is put together like an invoice for you and send it over for payment. That way it's itemized specifically for all the stuff that you want. Only reason I say that is because we have warehousing based fulfillment, and I would hate for your order notes to get overlooked and you not get the components that you were expecting.
Right. Okay. And that's info@makermade.com. Okay.
Where are you located?
I'm in Canada here.
Oh, okay. Because we're setting up. We're gonna set up like we have a little front retail space, and we're gonna set up like one of the Maker Mades and one of the printers and stuff like that, one of the mountains and one of the printers, so that people can come by if they want to see it before they buy stuff like that. But we're in Texas, so.
Okay. Oh, you're in Texas, so a little further out than where we are.
Yeah, but it's like before y'all, when you go to buy, then you could just look. You could play with one first, and then go buy it from them.
Yeah, yeah. The reason, I don't know if you kind of saw my email address there. I work for a CNC company, and obviously, I don't have the cash to buy my own CNC machine. And I came across your guys' there, and it's like, oh, that's got kind of different approach to it. So,
what company do you work for?
Streamline Automation.
Yeah,
you probably heard of them. It's called Frog 3D. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 3 huge 15-ton CNC mill. two of them are lace, and one of them's a mill, 5-axis mill, and I'm trying to sell. But the hard thing with selling 15-ton units is like it took me forever to get riggers that can move the damn things. And it took 18.
Exactly.
So I've got them right now that are really cool paperweights. Every now and then I'll jog it because it has a 6-ton counterweight and it shakes the building. It's kind of fun.
Oh, geez.
So that's my main use for it. I jog it at like 25 millimeter increments every now and then just to cause a little earthquake.
Yeah, well, definitely I want to get into kind of building my own stuff here. I mean, I can use my own, or the machines that are in the shop here, but I got my own garage and I can't fit a 4x8 machine or a 5x8 machine in there. So
we love our mates. Our Maslows have been awesome, and the sport's been awesome. And then one thing I want to do really bad is I want to go to a water cooled spindle. That way I can have a router, so it'll be way quieter. Right. And I have a ton of chillers, so it's like that's my next thing I gotta do. There's some on Amazon I want to buy. I just haven't got around to doing it yet.
Yeah, and the only reason why we haven't really marketed that is it's difficult to cross promote the accessibility and affordability of a kit and a $500 water cooled spindle at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, and I was looking at some of the cheap ones. There's some ones that aren't too bad. They're like $350, and they have they're like 4 stars on Amazon. So I'm like, it's kind of risky. So yeah, for people that are they're looking to just get this up and going. It's like I'm one that's used to like tinkering with things and catching them on fire. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, you definitely wouldn't want that for customers.
That's pretty cool.
You just because of the social media stance, obviously we're trying to do everything that we can with the kit. I'll just box one up and ship one to you.
spindle?
Yeah, I have one.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, if you want to, then yeah, let's do that, and we'll take some pictures. And I've got the chiller for it and everything else. So I'll just run. I have a couple of CW 5200s. Is that what y'all are using for it?
I don't know what that means. I don't
Oh, it's just like the Chinese ones. I've got another one of these big Haskins down there.
It is the exact equivalent of power output as the DeWalt 611
Yeah.
router. And then it's fully it's water cooled, and it has like the PWM control box.
Yeah, so I was wondering what control box y'all were using for that. That's cool.
Yeah, and then that'll run, but it runs straight into our Z-axis control, their spindle control on the control board. So it'll be really cool because ultimately, if people in the community are running these tools and showing it, it's like anything that I do and post on the internet is fake. But
Yeah.
if you do it, everyone's like, oh, cool, I want to do that. So I like to reach out to just members of the community. I'll run something if I have it and find someone else that's kind of passionate about trying it, and then I'll just kind of randomly send them something to play with.
Yeah, and we have a social media. I got a social media guy now. I'm really big on social media being not like businessy. I like our social media to be very personal, and so I'll also make sure everything's I make sure like all our posts, stuff like that, are posted as not like the company stuff like that, but as actual individuals in the company, like playing with things, doing things, and their personal opinions and their views, stuff like that. So that'll be good. I'll get y'all some videos, stuff like that too. I'll have them get you some videos of actual real use and their excitement and all that stuff like that.
Perfect. And then, so Jay, when you send your email, just feel free to reference that you spoke with me in the weekly office hours meeting. And then they can definitely help you get everything situated for the configuration that you're looking for. Right.
Now, how do you, I'm just kind of listening to kind of the influence that Drew is doing there. How do you go about partnering up with somebody like me who's just starting out? Although, I've had, 10, 15 years worth of CNC equipment side of things, I want to be able to, like you said, share with the community with an alternative, right, to a cheaper CNC machine.
We just signed up as a reseller, and it's really awesome. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to be a reseller, now obviously I would say with you working for another CNC manufacturer, you probably want to make sure that they're not going to fire you if you start selling our machine.
Oh, for sure.
But if you want to, if it's just about like being a member of the community and showing all the cool things that you're doing and helping everybody, we have a Facebook group, which is just Maker Made CNC owners. I think we have 3,600 members right now.
Oh, wow.
It's an extremely active Facebook community, and there's just all the time. There are people making real things. There's a guy that made like all these different like gears and a clock thing. Like it's crazy. You'll see some people in there, and it's like, okay, like their machine is like beyond calibrated, and then you'll have people that can't cut a circle out. But it's amazing because you see people in the varying walks of understanding and capability, and you'll like it's awesome because you'll get on there on Monday and there'll be someone that's just struggling to cut out a square, and then by Friday that same person is like selling wooden signs on Etsy with like custom like cursive lettering and everything.
It's really good support community too. The community, there's a lot of great users that will be super helpful, and then you'll find ones like you that have a lot of CNC experience. That's just like I said. I think we've got 3 massive CNCs. We've got 4 smaller CNCs, 5 smaller CNCs, and then we've got 3 Mazals. And honestly, our Mazals get there are 99% of our CNC stuff is besides the laser stuff, but for the actual milling is done on the Maslow's.
Oh, wow.
And so you'll have members in there that were like, for you, like where you want to tie in some of your other stuff, it's a great community for being connected with like some neat fun stuff you might want to do outside just the regular things.
Yeah, for sure. And my background is when I first started that this was a sculptor. And actually, that's the other question I was going to ask. Like, what with the new M2 Z lead screw on there, what is the kind of range it has on that Z axis?
So the just the travel itself.
Yeah.
We're seeing about 2 inches.
2 inches of travel.
Okay. Probably 2 to 3 inches. And some of it can also be compensated by, I mean, the length of your bit is also going to dictate a lot of that. You know, if you put a shorter bit in, you have to travel, you have to move the Z quite a bit more before you even reach the 0.
Okay.
So you have a longer bit and your Z axis is pretty much at the top.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of a peculiar setup because we're always laying on the surface of the cut material. So our Z depth is very dependent on how long the bit is that you have in the router.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
yeah.
Longer bits get deeper cuts.
Yeah, I mean, the bits that we have here, they're 10 inches long. So
holy cow! Yeah, you probably won't be able to use one of those.
No, for sure not. But
yeah, y'all using like the 50. What do you call it? I forget the end mills that we have down here, but yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I have a couple of ideas of extending that or being able to use it with longer bits. But I'd have to kind of get my hands on it to play around with it.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do that with. You could extend the linear rail of the Z, or if you wanted to keep the existing Z movement and then just accommodate a longer bit, you could. You make your sled thicker or put spacers underneath the Z axis. There's definitely multiple options. I'll tell you the first thing, the first person in our community that comes up with any form, I don't care how hacky it is, the first person that shows me a functioning tool changer on an M2 is going to win something awesome.
Yeah, this guy's have the tool changers, and it's so much fun. So it has a 15 tool changer in them, but yeah, it's got the big. Well, there's one of our. Yeah. I mean, these are the what do you call it? The 75s or whatever.
Holy cow!
Yeah, this thing weighs like 50 pounds, 60 pounds. Yeah.
You machining like 350 heads or something?
No. So we were having beers at one of my friends' places. He owns a CNC company. They do it's casing manufacturing. They do like oil and gas rig piping and stuff like that. And he bought new machines. He just upgraded all of their factory, and he had these 3, and they were. He was doing a bunch of titanium and other stuff, and he was like, I gotta get these out of here. And I was like, I think I'm gonna put them in storage. Like, make me a deal, sell them to me. He's like, what are you gonna do with them? I was like, I don't know. I just always wanted a badass mill. And so I ended up buying for $5,000.
Oh, wow.
It took me a month. Well, yeah, he was still using them for like 3 weeks until they had to finish some jobs first. And then we had to get them moved, and it sunk our foundation of this building. We're in a big industrial warehouse. It sunk a 4-foot concrete slab loading dock 2 inches into the ground when they brought them in here.
Crazy. Wow.
So yeah, they're 3-phase 480, but yeah, I honestly still don't know how to use them. I just thought they were so cool. And I was like, that's a really good price. And so anyways, but yeah, so I've got them over here. They're a little older, but they've been upgraded inside. So the control systems, it's crazy. So the stepper drivers are massive. It's really cool. You'd have fun, Chris. It's like I've just been I tinker with them a lot, but
Yeah, I have to distance myself from fun sometimes so that I get work done. I've told myself like I'm getting a plasma table, but then it's like I should probably finish some of these products before I get a plasma table.
I got the Crossfire, and they've done a pretty good job. But I'll tell you this, y'all have done a much better job than Langmuir Systems, because the Crossfire is basically the plasma version of the Maker Made.
Yeah.
And they have some good tutorial videos and stuff like that on YouTube and things, but their support's not near as good. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can manual control. But it's been pretty good. Now they dropped the price to the basic one for $1,500. It's not too bad, but honestly,
that doesn't include the torch, right?
Yeah. So you use separate torch. I just bought a torch. I have the Viper Cut 30i. I didn't get the 50. I should have got the 50, but at the time they were on back order. And then it's been a pretty good system. It works really well. I've got some. I did this for my parents for Christmas, and then I realized I put their address wrong. It's 188, 118. But anyway, yeah. So it does, and that's aluminum.
Nice. What's the drive system? Is it rack and pinion?
Yeah, it's sure.
Sorry, I know this is rant. If anyone has a M2 question, feel free to interrupt me asking plasma questions.
Well, this is kind of interesting to you, Jay, because I think as far as what you're like, being from a CNC background, and all that, because all these things at the end of the day are CNCs, but
yeah,
they've actually done a really good build on it. I'll give them that. And I built it backwards when I built it, so. Nice. You do get like 1,000 pieces, and I bought the water cable and everything. But,
is it lead through?
Yeah, it really is. It's actually, and the stepper drivers, it's actually pretty good. Like, now they're not open source or anything like that. They're kind of like a hybrid of y'all, but and they have a newer model that's like twice as long. But it's actually been really good. But it's still a shit show of software. You really need to use Fusion 360 for, and then you have to go. They were originally using shit. You'll know this one, JJ. I can't think of the name of it.
Are those NEMA 23s?
I'm sorry.
Are those NEMA 23 drivers? The motors?
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Honestly, you can't see them. They're all enclosed in their little control box right here. I probably are. I can open it and see.
Oh no, I mean just the motor right there on the end sticking out.
Yeah,
it looks like a NEMA 23.
Yeah, they're NEMA 23s. Yeah. And then it's using Mach 3. So for your cutting system, they're using Mach 3. I know. That's the thing. It sucks. So they've like it's still Langmuir Systems. I guess is an old. They're kind of doing like Riccio for where they try. They wanted to be where they're taking it, but they're still doing like what Rainbird is with the sprinkler systems. They're just taking, they're trying to make their systems, new and high tech and easy to use, but all they're doing is basically tying an IoT device to their old systems. So it's interesting. They've done a pretty good job. I mean, it's a good build. The new one has automatic, height control. It has a Z-axis. This one doesn't. Yeah, it's a manual Z-axis. Use a stem.
Mach 3 is just so ugly.
It's so ugly, so bad. And you can't use the new version of Mach 3 with it. You have to use it. And it makes y'all's setup and y'all's system seem super simple compared to. That's
what our approach has been. So like when we first got into CNC, like before Maker Made was a company, it was, I had looked at Avid and Sharks and all that stuff that were running like Mach 3, and I know Mach 4 is out now, but I looked at it and it was like, it shouldn't be this. It's kind of like when you go to the bank and you look at their computer and it's like, bro, it's 2021. Why does your software look so horrible? And so that was the approach, is when someone is using one of our machines, it should be as easy as like using an iPad app or something, because user experience and intuitive controls are like the name of the game in software.
It really is, and that's why you can't wait to play a 3D printer. I gotta get that ordered today. But what do you call it? And the thing with yours too was it's like with this one, you don't really have much control over anything. You can put different torches on there. You can pick your own plasma torches, but they're very limited because they had some issues with their controller where it's not grounded well. So some of the electronic torches cause interference with electronics in the control system. And so it screws up. So there's only like a few torches you can actually use safely without frying everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just looking at it, if they would have just ran all their wires in like Romex or something like that, a lot of those problems wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. So most of that wire is all mine. That's like my computer stuff. Like, so some of this is my shit show. So their control system's not too bad. There's really only 2 wires that are running from it. Honestly, is I made this little top like arm thing. They didn't have that, but yeah, and you can't really do much else with it. Where like what's cool with y'all is y'all honestly at the end of the day, if somebody like you see all the people on your site where they're making metal frames for their Mazda's, you could put a plasma cutter in the Mazda technically.
Yeah.
Especially now with BWM.
The only problem is the backblast of having it vertical, and you wouldn't have your water. You wouldn't be able to have like a uniform water table.
Well, they don't. This doesn't come with water table. You have to buy that extra. You do a lot, and a lot of times, my water table actually is really bad. My water table is actually mostly my ashtray right now. My poor water table is so bad right now. But yeah, I don't use the water table much. There's a lot of times we were doing deeper things because you can't really do much depth. So I took the water table off so I could shim stuff underneath it and do really like tall cut. I had some boxes we need to cut holes in. And so, honestly, if you get a backsplash, if you just did a metal plate backsplash, you know what I mean? Just a piece of like 16 gauge with the Maslow, and it has where all the backsplash goes down to a little pan at the bottom. You could do it really easily. So I think that's one thing you'll have is a huge advantage too. Like there's so much stuff where, like with these things, it's a really cool. If you want to just get like a reasonable CNC that actually works well, it does. For the price, it's reasonable.
We need that first brave soul to strap a plasma cutter to an
So I've got tons of sheet metal. I have one at the French down street. So I may do that. I'll try it. Well, I'll weld a steel frame one, and I'll try it. It'll be fun. Because what I'll do is I put a gun range in the warehouse. we had to, what do you call it? So we had to.
What'd you make a capture pit?
Yeah, I just put a water trap. This is just a little 22 trap, but we used just a steel plate and put so capture 9, and just put sand at the bottom. But I mean really at the end of the day, you get something like this, and it's had a little water pit at the bottom, so it's coming down, has a little water bed at the bottom, so the spark goes down and falls off. It would work beautifully as plasma.
There you go. Yeah, plasma is outside of my, like me personally, I would be cool with burning my house down with a plasma cutter. Like my wife would get a new kitchen out of the deal. But I'm not where I would be willing to sell that to other people.
No, yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's something I'm not good at it. Let's put it that way, but it's something I always want to play with. So I never did drugs or anything like that. So my addiction was always gadgets. Like so, but yeah, it's interesting. But that's something I do want to try after the laser stuff. One of these days, I'll put one of these plates up. I'll get one of these 4x8 sheets of like 16 gauge aluminum and just put it behind there as a splash sheet. So you could do a standoff. That would be really interesting. Okay, so that's another project for another day. Anyways,
right on.
But no, that's where y'all are different though. Like really, like JJ, as far as what you're looking at, as far as where the difference is between the Makerverse and other things, it's been really cool for me because as somebody that has experience in some of these things, it does give you a lot of options that you wouldn't have with other systems, which is really nice.
I would be interested too with.
Chris, got a question for you.
Yep, ask away.
Sorry, I jumped back on. It's worse.
Worse?
So when I travel right and left, it's worse. It's gone from 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch off now.
Okay. So I would say now with that, you may need to rerun your calibration. But your measurements are there. We may, let's see.
I totally lost you there since I said it was worse. I don't know
Oh,
what
okay.
happened.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have some free time? I know you've already burnt a lot of free time trying to get this running. Do you have some free time tomorrow where you and I can just do like a one-on-one session where I can actually get in front of a machine with my computer and then just do like a follow along, like mirror calibration with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. What time works for you?
I'm Central Time. What about you?
I'm Eastern. I'm at the shop by 7:30 Eastern time, which would be 6:30 in the morning your time. So
Okay. 6:30 in the morning.
yeah, well, you don't have to do 6:30, but the
No,
earlier the better. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's do that.
So if we want to do like 7:30 your time?
No, 6:30 actually works for me because I got to take kids to. I'm the school bus at the house.
So 6:30 in the morning?
Yes, sir.
All right, sounds good. So I'll be 7:30 my time in the morning. And how do we just do the same thing? How do I log?
So my email is chris@makermade.com. If you can just send me your contact information, I will send you a Zoom link in the morning so that we can meet up.
And by contact information is just like my email address, all that stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. You can just send me an email with you can just
Reminder about the time and
just type whatever you want in there, and then I just have something to reply to with the Zoom link.
Beautiful, man. I so much appreciate it because I'm anxious to get this thing up and running and
heck yeah.
pulling my hair out at the same time.
Once you get calibration down too, like I've screwed up a couple of times with things, I've had to recalibrate. So getting the calibration down is really good anyways, because every now and then, or if you want to change things around, it's good to have the calibration down. So
Yep.
I use some of this cheap backboard, like the whiteboard, the shower backer board. And you can actually, and so I put it on top of the board, and you can actually set up jigs too later on once you get your calibration down, and you have things set up at them. So what I've been doing is so I have this on top, so it's basically like a thin wasteboard, but then we had it carved with a little pattern in it, so when we go to jig things, it makes it really easy to jig things.
Gotcha.
Hey,
Okay.
Look at your machine. I think I know what that other guy's problem is now. The guy that was going up whenever he was going left and right. I think he's hitting his chain slack now.
That's what I was thinking too. I told him, he said he was at 6 inches though.
Yeah, but when they showed him, he's at 6 inches, but 1 inch from the bottom, not 1 inch from the top.
Oh, I'm 1 inch. Wait a second.
Right.
Are we supposed to be 1 inch from the top or 1 inch from the bottom of the beam?
You want to be higher up so that your travel chain doesn't have any chance in colliding with that.
Yeah, I'm 6 over and 1 up. So I need to be 6 over and 1 down.
Yes. Yeah, Drew, can you show them on yours?
Yeah. So let's see here. Let's see if I can manually control the camera. I just noticed as you said that my other one I built is screwed up. I gotta fix that one. Gaston was like, "Ha, you screwed yours up." Let's see here. We got a couple of them here, but yeah, my other one back there is not. I'm moving stuff around right now, but let's see here if I can zoom in. Let's see if I can get this thing to. Come on, camera. There we go. Yeah. So that one's good. Whereas that one over here.
Yeah, that's the way mine is.
This one. This is that one. You're saying now I get it wrong. That one is right.
Okay. Now, what does that do?
Okay, so if you see where his chain comes down at an angle there, the drive chain. So when you start to move to the left side of your sheet and the upper quadrant, that drive chain actually comes off at an angle from that motor to where it can actually collide with that nail. And then it creates a secondary pivot point. So that the other guy that was on where, hey, when I go to the left, I watched it, it goes to the left for about 5 inches and then it starts drifting up. So more than likely what's happening is he's going left on a perfect plane until that chain hits the nail. and then it starts bending around the nail and dragging the slide up with the other motor.
You're right. I bet you're exactly right, Chris.
Now, do you think that has anything to do with my scenario?
It could definitely have it. It will have anytime your drive chain touches that nail, it will have an impact on your cut.
All right. Well, I'll make that correction too today before we have our meeting in the morning, so that is correct. And one complaint I do have just in like the resources for creating the frame, like what you can download, it was telling us that you needed to place the beam brackets 5 3/4 inches apart versus 10 inches apart, like your video. Because when I originally got the machine, I bought the machine 2 months ago, got the frame set up, then we guys got absolutely waylaid with work that I couldn't take the time to mess with the machine. So when we came back to start working with it, you all had made the video on how to build the frame. And then I look at the video and it was 10 inches.
What was 10 inches?
And yeah, it's 10 inches between the top of the wasteboard bracket and the bottom of the top beam bracket. But in the
up here,
load,
that's for the
right here.
yeah, that thing. But in the downloadable information that you can actually print out, it shows it to be 5 3/4 inches.
Okay, I'll get that changed. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, I'll make that change with the chain today. And then I'll look to see, I'll send you this email right now and look forward to talking with you in the morning.
Adam, I would definitely get one of these, Adam. Like, so every now and then when I've been learning, when I was learning, it's not because of the Mazda. Sometimes I'll get something that gets caught. I won't put the board on the right, or I'll have it jigged, or I didn't realize I had a nail or a screw that was sticking up a little bit when I was jigging it, and it'll get caught. This thing saved me a couple times. I've broken one. So and they're cheap on Amazon, but it's just and I mounted this one too far forward, so what's happening now? The sled's coming over, so I need to mount it a little farther back. But so when I come all the way over, the sled's in this.
And that's what your router's plugged into.
That's what the controller is. So with the first one, if you killed it, you'd have to recalibrate. With this one, you shouldn't have to recalibrate the version 2. And so, but I have it just killing the power to, because my fear too is I don't want it burning up my my drivers. I don't want burning up any of my worm gear motors or my drivers.
Gotcha.
So I just have it kill the whole. I have it kill the whole Arduino.
Gotcha. And then I had one other question, and I lost my train of thought for a second on. I don't know what it was. It seemed important, but I guess it must not have been. But all right, cool. Well, Chris, I look forward to talking with you in the morning. Thank you so much. And Drew, thank you so much for your time and communicating with me.
No, this has been fun. I enjoy this. This is kind of a good mental break too for some of the stuff we're doing. So
I hear you. Sounds great, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, have a good one too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm probably gonna have to drop too. Feel free if you want to stay on and chat, you can. But I've got to run and get ready for some software stuff on the 3D printer.
Yep, I'm gonna get with you on the 3D printer, and then I'll email you about that water chill spindle. If I could, I'll test that. I'll send it back to y'all. I'll play with it, and that'd be awesome. Because I do want to get one eventually, so I'd love to play with that one you have to see how that works.
Sweet, sounds good.
Okay, y'all have a good one. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.